Hare Krishna. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Nigamakalpatarorgalitam phalam sukamukhatam rita dravasamyutam pimata bhagavatam rasamalayam gurugorasika bhuvibhavakaha. Narayanam namaskritya naram chaiva narottamam devim saraswatim vyasam tato jayamudiraye. Nashtaprayeshu abhadreshu nityam bhagavata sevaya bhagavatyuttama shloke bhaktir bhavati nishtiki. ओम ज्ञानतिमनन्दस्य ज्ञानञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपकदा मह्यं ददाति सपदान्तिकं। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरोन् श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरोन् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगण रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्री राधा कृष्ण पादान सहगण ललिता श्री विशाखान्वितांश्च। हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमोस्तुते। तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्ति वेदांत स्वामिन्निति नामिने। नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासदि गौर भक्त वृंद। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। मूकं करोति वाचालं पंगुलंगायते कृपातमहं वन्दे श्रीगुरुं देवतारणं परमानन्दमाधवं श्री चैतन्यमीश्वरम्। तथाञ्चन स्मृते यस्मिन् दुष्करं सुकरं भवेत् स्मृते प्रीतं स्यात् श्री चैतन्यं नमामि तम्। So looks like there is some general difficulty for people to come on 10 o'clock. So maybe you should change the time of the class to 10:30 so that people can come on time. Because it's not good that we start the class at 10 o'clock and then people are not here. So Rukmini Haris Sevini. So you please discuss with all the students that either they can come at 10 o'clock or if they have difficulty, we change the time to 10:15 or 10:30 so that they can be there on time. Otherwise, it's a little funny. Okay. So something to remember from yesterday's class? Anybody? Anything to remember from yesterday's class? Do you remember? Yes.
One very beautiful point I remember. I learned that for very first time. What is Jivedaya? So, Jivedaya is something which should not stop Jiva for his natural propensity to move towards Krishna.
Yeah.
So if we interrupt Jiva, any living entity, and there was a beautiful example that if a human being kills an animal for eating or something, so it is like the animal is gradually growing towards the human form. And if the carnivorous animal, this is like the animal's dharma, and but that is not human being dharma to kill the animal and to eat. But if the animal, when he comes to the level of human being, at that time he will killing is like mamsa. So when he kills, when he becomes a human being, that he will find that soul and gets that form of that. You take the example of chicken. So when that become that soul who killed that animal, so that animal, that human being will become animal now, and that chicken will become human being, and that chicken will kill that human being, which will have taken the form of chicken, and it's like stopping that person to moving towards Krishna.
Yes. Okay. So any other point? Anybody else remembers any other point from yesterday's discussion?
Also, Prabhuji, that we have to take both Indra and Vritrasurta as heroes. They have their different leadership styles that we have to observe, but both are heroes from that perspective.
Yeah, okay. Okay, so there's no villain in the story. Both are heroes. Because both of them are devotees. Nobody is villain here. Okay, good. So we'll proceed. We'll continue with our deliberation and discussion. Stopped. We stopped at this verse, which is verse number 40. We didn't read the purport, so we have to read the purport. Okay, please read the purport of verse number 40. The
Pure
highlight.
devotees.
Yeah.
Pure devotees are akama, whereas devotees in the upper planetary system, such as the demigods, are called sakama because they still want to enjoy material opulence. The sakam devotees are sometimes disturbed by the demons and rakshasas, but the Lord is so kind that He always saves them by appearing as an incarnation. The difference between Sakam and Akam devotees is that when Sakam devotees, like the demigods, fall into difficulty, they approach the Supreme Personality of Godhead for relief, whereas Akam devotees, even in the greatest danger, never disturb the Lord for material benefits. Even if an Akam devotee is suffering, he thinks this is due to his past impious activities and agrees to suffer the consequences. He never disturbs the Lord. Sakam devotees immediately pray to the Lord as soon as they are in difficulty, but they are regarded as pious because they consider themselves fully dependent on the mercy of the Lord. Sakam devotees, of course, achieve from the Lord the result they desire from their prayers, but do not immediately become fit to return to Godhead.
So this is a very interesting discussion Prabhupada makes about Sakama and Akama devotees, about their inclination and attitude. But the first point is they both are devotees. This should be understood. That they could be Sakam, they could be Akam, but they both are devotees. Means they are fully dependent on the Lord. That is the basic characteristic of them. It is not that the Sakama devotees are less dependent on the Lord. The Sakama devotees are also fully dependent on the Lord. The Akama devotees are also fully dependent on the Lord. But the Sakama devotees, they are also having some material desires or material tendencies or material inclinations, like trying to be free from material distress or wanting to have some material enjoyment. These are certain material inclinations which they have. But in fulfilling those inclinations, they are fully dependent on the Lord. They will not think that, okay, oh, Krishna is not fulfilling my desire, so I will go and find somebody else to fulfill my desire. No. So they will only depend on Krishna to fulfill their desire. They will only depend on Krishna to come out of their difficulty. They will not say, okay, Krishna is not helping me to come out of my difficulty, so let me go and pray to Kali. They will not do all those things. Their determination to depend on Krishna is very strong. That is unbreakable. They have unbreakable determination to depend on Krishna. But in depending on Krishna, the Sakama devotees, they also want to fulfill certain material inclinations. It could be either enjoyment or it could be relief from distress. So now here the demigods, they are depending on the Lord for relief from distress. But Prabhupada points out that an Akama devotee or a pure devotee does not want to disturb the Lord for his own purpose. He does not want to disturb the Lord for his own purpose. In Ramayana, there is a very beautiful incident which Sita, she remembers to Hanuman. When Hanuman comes and meets Sita, so Hanuman is asking Sita that, how will I convince Lord Ram that I have met you? So then Sita says that I'll tell some incidents which nobody knows. So this matter, only me and Lord Ram know. So if you go and tell him this incident, then he will know that yes, he has met Sita. So then she talks about an incident with a crow. that there was a crow, Lord Ram and Sita, they were they were together alone, and Lord Ram was resting on Sita's lap. So at that time, one crow came, and that crow wanted to attack Sita. And especially the crow was plucking Sita's breast. And because that crow was plucking Sita's breast, then blood started flowing from Sita's breast. And but Sita, she did not disturb Lord Ram from his sleep. She did not tell Lord Ram that, hey, wake up, this crow is troubling me, go and take this crow away. She never told that. She tolerated whatever the crow was attacking, and she did not want to disturb Lord Ram. But that blood which came out from Sita's breast, that fell on Lord Ram, and Lord Ram sleep disturbed. Then he got up and then he saw, oh, my wife is bleeding. Then he saw who is the culprit. He saw there was one crow, and in the beak of the crow, there was some blood. And he immediately understood that the crow was Indra's son, Jayanta. And he understood that he had come to attack Sita because he had become lusty, seeing Sita's beauty. So Lord Ram immediately took one kusha grass, which was nearby, and then he invoked Brahmastra, and then he sent it behind Jayanta. Then Jayanta was running everywhere to save himself. In the 14 planetary system, nobody could save him. Finally, he came and surrendered to Lord Ram himself. And Lord Ram said, okay, I'll forgive you because you have surrendered to me. But still, that Brahmastra had to do something. So that with that Brahmastra, Lord Ram plucked one of the eyes of Jayanta and then left him. So I am recollecting this incident to show that how Sita tolerated her own distress. She didn't want to disturb Lord Ram for her sake, because Lord Ram was sleeping on her lap, and she didn't want that sleep to be disturbed. So she tolerated everything, but she never disturbed Lord Ram. So same way, a pure devotee, he does not want to disturb the Lord for his sake. There's also this famous incident of Mahaprabhu and Govinda. This very famous incident, that how Govinda, he crossed over Mahaprabhu for massaging his leg, but he did not want to cross Mahaprabhu back because he had to go and take prasad. So for his sake, he does not want to inconvenience the Lord. So this is the mood of a pure devotee. He is trying to tolerate. So Prabhupada quotes Tattelu Kampam Sushamikshamaano Bhujjana Evatmakritam Vipakam Hridvak Vapupi Rudadan Namaste Jivet Yo Mukyapade Sadaya Bhat. So, but I want to ask one question in this regard, that what it means to tolerate. This is very important to understand. So what it means that when I am in trouble, I should tolerate, what it means. Yes, Rukmini, Harisevni.
Prabhuji, till the time, being a practitioner of bhakti, till the time my chanting is not affected, I should tolerate the insult and everything. This is the definition of tolerance.
Okay, so when the chanting is affected, what you should do?
No, if the chanting is, then there should be a need to draw a line that yes, I am not so humble. Yes, I'm practicing. I'm not so humble, but I don't want. But there is a need to tell other person come to know that the thing which he or she is doing affecting me. So I'm not able to tolerate.
Okay, okay. So till the time we should silently tolerate.
Yes, because we have to. Trinadapi Sunishana, we have to follow.
Okay. Okay, good. So anybody else, any other opinion? What it means to tolerate difficulty? What it means to tolerate difficulty? It's a very important question. Yes, Geeta Krishna Prabhu, you are very senior. You would like to say something about this subject. What it means to tolerate difficulty. A pure devotee tolerates all the difficulty. What it means practically for us.
It means that the devotee does not complain because he understands that it's maybe due to his past karma. So he instead, he prays to the Lord that whatever difficulty I'm in, it is because of your mercy that he lifted me. Not that much, not compared to the uh, uh, bad karmas that he has done. So then he tolerates and uh, tolerates, thinking that, it's Krishna's plan. So then he's okay with that.
Okay, let me complicate this question. Okay, what if some type of abuse is happening, like some physical abuse or some other type of sexual abuse, something like that is happening? So what the devotee should do? What the devotee should do? Simply keep quiet and tolerate.
No,
So everybody is nodding their head, but nobody is speaking what they should do. What they should do. This is a very important topic because this we are studying Bhagavatam not just to make some theory and then write some exam and then pass and then get some certificate. We should actually know what we should do, what it means to tolerate. We should know. Yes, Daruka Krishna Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Now, Prabhuji, the situation which you're giving for this, God has given a right to defend everybody and certain kind of power to defend themselves. So we can defend, and if we have confusion, so we can take the help of Guru Sadhu Shastra in particular situation if we are not comfortable. So we must take the help of them, and whether I should tolerate it or whether a correction is required for a particular case.
Okay. Anybody else? Because Rukmini, she spoke before. So I will skip to see if somebody else want to speak. Anybody else want to speak? Jia Kumari Mataji, you want to say something about this topic?
हरे कृष्ण प्रभु जी, दंडवत प्रणाम।
Pranam.
प्रभु जी, जिस सिचुएशन आपने दी है उसमें तो ऑब्वियसली आई विल से कि बंदे को जो है रिटेलिएट कभी भी टॉलरेट नहीं करना चाहिए। ये तो टॉलरेट करने जैसी चीज है ही नहीं। बाकी ओवरऑल जैसे आपने पहले कहा कि है ना, अ प्योर डिवोटी टॉलरेट्स एवरीथिंग, तो उसका तो यही है कि ना, क्योंकि प्योर डिवोटी जो है भले कितनी भी डिफिकल्ट सिचुएशन आ जाती है, कुछ भी आ जाती है, उसकी जो डिटर्मिनेशन एंड कॉन्शियसनेस है, इट इज वो हमेशा अनअफेक्टेड ही रहती है। वो हमेशा कृष्ण कॉन्शियस ही रहता है, तो उस हिसाब से वो टॉलरेट कर लेता है ऐसी चीजें। बट ये जो है कि फिजिकल अब्यूज ये वो, तो ये भले कुछ ये तो इसको तो टॉलरेट नहीं करना चाहिए। बंदे को जो है जितना हो सके, आई विल तो से, अगर इतना हाथ में है कि बंदे को मार डाले तो मार भी डालना चाहिए, लेकिन इतना नहीं। ये चीजें टॉलरेट करने की नहीं है भाई।
ठीक है, ओके, अच्छा है। Okay, anybody else? Anybody else? Antaryami Balaram Prabhu, what do you think?
Prabhuji, I think the devotee is completely dependent on the mercy of the Lord, and he takes the necessary practical action. If, as Prabhuji said, that we have a right to defend, so it's depending on the Lord and consults the devotees and Guru Sadhu Shastra, and then do the needful.
Okay, good. Thank you. Radha Keshav Prabhu, आप कुछ बोलेंगे?
Very, very difficult question. Very, very difficult. Indeed difficult. But the tolerance, to my mind,
हाँ.
That depends from situation to situation. Uh, like you suffer sometime, you have to tolerate. But something is against other Vaishnava, against Guru, then there is no question of any tolerance.
हाँ, वो तो ठीक है, वो तो very clear है. But the
Yeah.
question is not about against Vaishnava or against other Guru. Again, it's about yourself. That you are in a situation which is very grave, like I said, that, like a devotee is in a situation where they are physically abused or sexually abused. Then उस समय क्या करना चाहिए? How to practice this tolerance in that situation? तो टॉलरेट करना चाहिए, नहीं करना चाहिए? टॉलरेंस का मतलब
टॉलरेंट तो करना चाहिए, because it is tapasya basically. It is tapasya, titikshva. It is basically a ornament for a sadhu.
Yeah.
He has to tolerate it. Tolerance तो होनी चाहिए, but the question कि कितनी होनी चाहिए? Indeed, very difficult to say. Very difficult to say. Even sometime you are in a different kind of situation, and the other time you are in different kind of, and you tend to tolerate something, and sometime you don't tolerate even a small thing. So these two things go as the gunas change, our situation change.
Okay.
So, but the thing is, we should tolerate. We should learn to tolerate. How much? It is again very difficult, Roji. Very difficult. Very difficult. I beg mercy that you kindly give us a proper path so that we can lead or we can do as you desire.
नहीं, हम तो ऐसे ही आप लोग से सीख रहा है.
नहीं.
तो प्रिया सत्यभामा माता जी, यू रेस्ड योर हैंड, बाद में आपने हाथ नीचे कर दिया.
Actually, Prabhuji, Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranam. I was remembering something that you told us in a previous class. So, previous classes when you took the last unit with us. I don't know how much it's applicable here, but somehow it's coming in my mind again and again. You shared that time also, that we should tolerate to an extent, but our philosophy and consciousness should be that clear that if we need to raise a voice against it, we should be able to do that. So this was what I was remembering from the previous classes.
Okay. So generally, I tend to have this discussion sometimes repeatedly also with the same students, because it is a sensitive topic, and then this topic requires some fleshing out. Then better to discuss it maybe once, twice, thrice, so that we get in our consciousness clear. So anybody else would like to offer some opinion on this? What about Anand Leela Mataji? You want to say something?
Hare Krishna. I mean, if we look back in our scriptures, not look back, if we actually refer to our scriptures, there has been a lot of devotees who have had tolerated. And often those examples are given, like, say, of Draupadi, that she tolerated, and Prahlad Maharaj. There was a lot of abuse in today's terms, what we can say, that he went through with his own father, and like I said, Draupadi. But the kind of culture they were raised in, they actually didn't hate the person who was performing those abuse against them. They were fighting for the right cause, for eradicate the abuse, not the abuser. Because what when we look at all these stories, Prahlad Maharaj, he actually begged for his father, to Narasimha Dev, that to forgive him. So I think it takes it's a long way to go for us to reach. That's why these devotees' names are there inscribed in Bhagavatam, and it requires a lot of culture, that practice, to be able to tolerate. But yes, some aspects are not acceptable I would say. And like this, some devotees mentioned about Guru Sadhu Shastra. So in those circumstance, that's when we can refer to our, peers, our mentors and scriptures, and we can take their shelter. And sometimes, we are so confused in that respective circumstance, we don't know where to approach. So rather than it going as a blast in the end, and then it affects the whole community um, and the whole society. So it's better that it's addressed in a proper channel when we actually detect something, like a smaller scale.
Okay, thank you, Mataji. That's a very beautiful answer. More or less, it summed up whatever I had to say. So I think
Thank you.
the encouragement they asked you to speak in the end. So it's a good summary of what I wanted to say. I'll just add a few points to that, whatever Mataji said. Basically, tolerance does not mean going along with something which is adharmic. This should be very clearly understood. Okay. There is what is dharma and what is adharma. Okay. So whether it is done to one's own self or whether which is done to somebody else, we are not meant to go along with what is adharma. Okay. Within the realm of dharma, there could be difficulties. Those difficulties have to be tolerated. Okay. Like you are trying to do some service, and within that service, so many difficulties could come because of, sometimes lack of resources, or sometimes lack of right type of people, or sometimes people not understanding you the way you are trying to do the service. Sometimes there may be some disturbances due to overall circumstances. So these are all disturbances which are well within the realm of dharma. So those disturbances have to be tolerated. Generally, we should try not to complain about them. We should, but even then, we should try to remedy them. This is very important. Tolerating does not mean that we will not find remedy to our difficulty. Tolerating is one part. Finding remedy to the difficulty is another part. Not tolerating means making some big hue and cry, saying that, oh, these people are doing like this, oh, that people are doing like this, oh, these people are always, this person doing politics. Just making some big hue and cry about the moment you find yourself in some difficulty, you start making some big hue and cry. No, you tolerate it, but you try to find some solution for it. Through proper way, through proper channel, Guru Sadhu Shastra, whatever it is, you try to find some solution for it. So this goes for even difficulties which are within the realm of dharma. Tolerating does not mean that, just simply sit and then, okay, now difficulty has come, let me just sit and suffer. No, that is not tolerance. There is difficulty. The very tendency of human nature is to solve it. We should try to do something to solve it so that our services, our sadhana, our things can move forward. While we are doing our best effort to solve it, if the difficulty is taking more time, or if it is not getting solved, then if it is still within the realm of dharma, then that should be tolerated without making some big complaint or big hue and cry. Now, what is adharma? Like the situation which I gave, like abuse, sexual abuse, or physical abuse. This is adharma. Adharma cannot be tolerated. So immediately it has to be reported. Immediately we have to find the authorities, report, make sure that these things don't happen. Because if you tolerate, okay, then the perpetrator will go and abuse somebody else because he gets some encouragement by your silence. Okay, I am doing this to this person, he is silent. Maybe if I do it to another person, he will also become silent. So then silence in such situation is not good. So whenever we see that there is some adharma, or some sinful thing which is going on, then we should raise the voice. We should not just go along with it. We should complain. We should find the right authorities to make a complaint. We should raise a voice. That is. Now, the other part which Mataji brought about, that is very important. Like even with Prahlad, Prahlad is not going along with Hiranyakashipu. Whenever Hiranyakashipu asks him some question, Prahlad is giving him some straightforward answer. That what is good for what Prahlad is asking, what did you study? Hiranyakashipu is asking Prahlad, what did you study with your teachers? Then Prahlad is saying that, my dear father, people like you are so much entangled in family life and you don't even know what is the real purpose of life. So it is good for people like you to leave everything and go to forest. He clearly told his father. He didn't even mince his words. He said, you are not fit to be king. You should go to forest and you should meditate on Hari. This is good for you. Very clear, straightforward answer he gave. And same way, when he asked for the second time, he said, Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam. He said that now the Bhakti is good. And when his father asked him that, where do you get so much strength? He said, oh, the strength, whatever is the source of my strength is also the source of your strength. He was not mincing his words with his father. He never went along with his father. He never went along with his father. He clearly opposed his father. And he told his friends, you should chant Narayana's name, you should not become demoniac, you should give up this demoniac life. Everything he did. But at the same time, when time came, he prayed to Nrsimhadev for his father. He said, my father is a fool, please forgive him. So this is called tolerance. He did not consider his father as the source of his trouble. This is what Tatyanukampam is explaining. Tatyanukampam Shloka, Brahma explains that if devotee is troubled by a person, but the devotee does not consider that person as the source of his trouble, because the devotee is the well-wisher of that person also. But at the same time, the devotee also acts in an appropriate manner so that the trouble can be resolved. He doesn't think that, oh, this trouble I have to tolerate. No, you have to resolve this trouble. And in 4th canto, if you remember, Narad Muni and Dhruva Maharaj in that purport, Prabhupada actually talks about the Narad Muni and his snake disciple. There's a story which he talks about Narad Muni and his snake disciple, where the snake becomes a disciple of Narad Muni and become very sattvic. Then the villagers almost kill him. Then Narad Muni, he tells the snake that I told you not to bite, but I never told you not to raise your hood. So there's a difference between raising the hood and biting. Raising the hood does not release the poison. It only defends the snake. But biting releases the poison. So this is the difference which we have to understand, that we have to raise the hood, but we should not release the poison. What is the poison? The poison is to think that I am not responsible for my suffering. This fellow is responsible for my suffering. That is the poison. That poison we should not release. Because why it is poison? It is poison because if we think like that, then we are actually telling that Krishna is not practicing justice. Krishna has put me in a situation which I don't deserve. So therefore, Krishna is unfair. So directly we are blaming Krishna as unfair. So that is why we should not consider that other person as responsible for our suffering. We should take ourselves as responsible for our suffering. We should be the well-wisher. We should try to be the well-wisher of the other person. But at the same time, we should raise our hood clearly. Means that we should take action to stop our suffering. We should take action to remedy our suffering. Is part of tolerating. Is part of tolerating. Is not that tolerating means that you just simply sit and then, okay, let them do whatever they want, I will just tolerate. It's not. It's not like that. We are never meant to be like that. So therefore, we should clearly understand that, you see, Prabhupada, the Juhu incident, the person is trying to take away the land from ISKCON. And Prabhupada is fighting. Prabhupada is fighting. And in the end, that person's wife, she comes to Prabhupada and then she begs for forgiveness. In one moment, Prabhupada becomes very soft with her. The same moment, Prabhupada becomes very soft with her. He says, it's all right, you're like my daughter. So that is the difference. That is the difference. That is the difference. So therefore, we should clearly understand that tolerating does not mean going along with adharma. Tolerating does not mean not remedying our suffering. Tolerating simply means to understand that my suffering has come due to my karma. And this person who is an instrument of giving my suffering, he is not responsible for it. And being his well-wisher also, if possible. Of course, Mataji said we are a long way away from that. That is true. Because we not only don't have the culture, we also don't have the Krishna conscious maturity to think like that. The culture is one part, the Krishna conscious maturity is another part. So both are required to be, to think like that. So therefore, these things should be clearly understood. That what is the difference between, what does it mean to tolerate suffering? Okay, yes, Dharaka Krishna.
Thank you, Guruji. Guruji, I have a question from Mahabharata that we see that Aswathama killed all the 5 children of Pandavas, and after that, all the Krishna was asking to punish him. Bhima was asking to punish him, but Draupadi said that let him go. So although he did adharma, then also devotees showing mercy, they are tolerating. How do we understand it?
So Draupadi, first of all, Draupadi was not like that. Okay. First, what happened? Draupadi was very angry with Aswathama. And Arjuna made one terrible vow. You know what was Arjuna's vow? Do you remember?
Yes.
What vow he made?
He'll bring the head of that killer of that person.
And then?
Then give it to Draupadi.
Then?
That's it.
No. He told Draupadi, you can stand on his head and take bath. You go and read Bhagavatam. Terrible vow he made. He said, I'll bring Aswathama's head. You stand on his head and take baths, he said. And Draupadi was okay with it. She was telling, okay, do it. But when Aswathama was physically brought, then Draupadi changed her mind by seeing Kripi, who is Aswathama's mother. So Draupadi, that time he said that he is a Brahmana, he should not be killed, but she never said he should not be punished. There's a difference between saying that he should not be punished and he should not be killed. The original vow of Arjuna was that he will be killed, he will be beheaded, and Draupadi can stand on that head and take bath. Okay. So now she wants to modify that situation. She is not interested in taking that kind of bath. So she is saying that he should not be killed. She never said he should not be punished. She said he should not be killed because now she gave 2 considerations. One consideration she said is that he is a Brahmana. So therefore he should not be killed because the wrath of a Brahmana will destroy the family. So she had some family consideration. The family had got through so much of suffering and big war, etc. She didn't want more calamity to the family. So therefore, she wanted to avoid that one. Second, she said that I don't want Kripi to suffer the same sorrow which I am suffering, to be sunless and suffer the same fate which I am suffering. So that was compassion. Now, Prabhupada adds a third reason. Prabhupada says that it is womanly weakness also. So Prabhupada gives three reasons why, Draupadi herself gives two reasons why she changed her mind. And Prabhupada gives a third reason. He says it's due to womanly weakness and compassion that she actually changed her mind. Of course, that womanly weakness is not a disadvantage. It is, in one sense, that's the nature of woman. And that's what makes them women. Otherwise, they will become like man. So therefore, it's not a defect. It's not a defect. So that's how she actually changed her mind. But when Krishna told that his head should be shaved, that jewel should be taken from him, and he should be driven out of the country, she didn't stop all that. She didn't say, no, don't shave his head, don't take his money, and don't drive him out of the country, just keep him the way he is, and then keep feeding him. She didn't say all that. So she was okay with punishment. She was not okay with killing. So she wanted him to be punished appropriately for whatever he has done. Is that clear?
Yes, Puji, this is clear. I have one more question regarding this. That if you consider in dharma and adharma, so as Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Chaturvanya Maya System Guna Karma Vivakasa. But here in the particular case, which I was sharing, that Draupadi and Ashwatthama, here we are considering that caste Brahmana, I could say, not the Brahman from the Guna and Karma. So
they were all exalted personalities. You should not. Sometimes we actually look at these people from our lens, and then we freely comment on them. We think that some Asatama is like some Bhakta Joe who has joined yesterday Krishna consciousness. We should not think all that like that. These are all exalted personalities, right? Yeah, he is not like some simple crazy guy. Ashwatthama is going to become next Vyasadeva. Okay. So he is such a qualified person. But he has done something which requires a particular treatment. So these are all different issues. But we should not think that, he is a caste Brahman. The word caste Brahman simply means a person who has no qualities of a Brahmana except birth. Ashwatthama is not like that. Ashwatthama is properly qualified Brahmana. And he was very powerful also. So, but he also did things which are not appropriate. So the Lord punished him. But the Lord did not, did not condemn him forever. He gave him some punishment, but at the same time, the same Lord is going to make him Vyasadeva for the next cycle of next day of Brahma. So it's not like eternal condemnation of Ashwatthama. So since he is qualified, so he is also getting that situation. Is that clear? Yes, Rukmini. Hari Sevidi.
I have two small questions.
Yeah.
One is like we see the example of Prabhupada's sister Pishima. So her husband used to beat her, and but at the end he became a devotee, and he begged forgiveness from Pishima. So one thing, and second, I have heard like karma accumulated. If someone is telling me anything and I'm not saying anything in return, so it's like. To understand karma's philosophy, it's difficult, but it is easy here that yes, I did back, I got the result, I'm not reverting, revelating, so it's like finish, next, go ahead. So these two things.
So yes, Pishima's case is a very exceptional case. That's where I would like to fall back on Anand Leela Mataji's description of culture. So that time, there was culture like that. But now now the culture is very bad. Now, even without even any physical abuse or anything, man and woman are not able to tolerate each other for even 2-3 days. I know cases where till the day before marriage, they're exchanging I love you on WhatsApp till night 12 o'clock. They're going to get married next day. So till night 12 o'clock, they're writing I love you, I love you. Now they get married. Then after 2 days, they're coming and sitting together. Prabhuji, we are fighting. Can you please, give counseling to us? 2 days back, you were saying I love you, I love you. Now what happened? What happened? Marriage happened. Now you fight. You fight. Because the distance between the illusion and reality is so great that at the first taste of reality, they cannot tolerate each other. They cannot tolerate each other. That is the culture today. And sometimes after 6 months, they want to file divorce also. They want to go and file divorce. And they want to get separated. What nonsense? I don't. It's very difficult. Okay. So the present situation of man and woman is like that. They are so impulsive in everything. In coming together, they are impulsive. In living, they are impulsive. In separating, they are impulsive. There's so much of impulsiveness in the modern relationship that there is no proper consideration at all. So therefore, Pishima is like a distant dream. There is no culture to even think about such things. So we have to be practical in trying to understand and apply Krishna conscious philosophy. If I go and tell any woman today that you be like Pishima, then they will think that I am some crazy guy. So therefore, we have to understand what is the present situation between man and woman, and then give them something which they can take and practice. If you don't give them something which they can take and practice, they will not practice anything. But of course, in the process, we should not try to dilute the philosophy. We should try to give them something which is properly as per philosophy and which they could actually relate to, and then they could practice. So that's very important. Okay, that's about the Pishima thing. Okay. Now the second thing about not reacting and closing the karma, you brought a very important point. It's not that just by not reacting you will close the karma. You will close the karma by proper Krishna conscious understanding. And what is that process of closing the karma? That is given in that sloka, Tattva Nikampam Sushamiksamano. It's not that Brahma doesn't say, okay, somebody comes and does something to you, you just keep quiet and then karma is closed. No, he doesn't say like that. He gives a process for closing the karma. What is the process for closing the karma? Tattenu kampam sushamiksamano bhunjana yevatma kritam vipakam. So this is the understanding part. The understanding part is that you understood that I am into trouble because of my own doing. So now, just understanding this does not close the karma. Then comes the application part. Okay. Then, Hrid Vak Vabhubir Vidadan Namaste. That is the application part. In that part, one goes to Krishna and then tells Krishna, Krishna, I am so bad. That is why all my karma is coming back to me and I am facing so much difficulty. I am so ashamed that I am such a bad person. So please forgive me for all my misadventure. I don't want any more misadventure in my life. I simply want to do devotional service to you. Okay, sorry for the noise pollution. There's something going on the street. Previously, they used to just say from the mouth, and it was not so noisy. Now technology has improved. So they record it and then play it on loudspeaker. So it became very noisy. I miss those days when they would just shout out from their mouth. I'm in Kumbakonam, my hometown. And when I was a small boy, there used to be a seller who used to bring salt, rock salt in hand cart, and then he used to sell. And he used to push that hand cart and he will keep shouting and he will come. And he will say, Uppu. Uppu in Tamil means salt. So first he will say Uppu, then he will say Gopala, then he will say Uppu, then he will say Gopala. He's a businessman. He is a man who is selling salt. But for every time he is calling out salt, every time he will say the Lord's name Gopala. So those days used to be like that. All the businessmen used to be very God conscious. All the street sellers used to call out the Lord's name. Now it's just noise pollution. Okay, anyway, what to do? So coming back to our topic. So unless we speak that realization, unless we go in front of the deity and then we speak that realization and then we plead in front of the deity that let's just finish this story. I don't want to continue this story anymore. That is the application part. So unless that is done, karma doesn't get closed. Just by simply keeping quiet, karma doesn't get closed. Just by jnana, karma doesn't get closed. It gets closed when you go to the right person who is Krishna and then ask him to close it because he is the one who can close it. So you have to go and tell him that please close this. I am done with this. I don't want it anymore. I don't want to fight with this guy. I don't want to consider him as my perpetrator. I know that this is all my own thing. So please let me become Krishna conscious. Let him become Krishna conscious. Let's close this story. So that's when karma gets closed. Okay. You have to say something.
Yes, Vaibhava, one little thing that when we say like, okay, I'll ask later. Sorry.
Okay. So any more discussion or question on this topic? We spend some time on this topic, but still it's an important topic. That's why we try to spend some time. Anything, any more point, anything more? Is clear that what it means to tolerate, how to react to a particular circumstance, how not to blame others, and how to be everybody's well-wisher and pray for forgiveness from the Lord for whatever we have to go through. Okay, so that's the package. When you are able to do that package, then you are more or less placed in a proper way. Of course, in the beginning, it may be difficult, but at least we should start doing it, even if it is difficult for us. We should start doing it consciously, even if it is difficult for us. So when we start doing it, then Krishna will help. So when Krishna helps, then this becomes part of our Krishna conscious life. But we should start doing it. We should try to do it actively. We should start doing it. Sometimes it may even feel a little bit artificial, but it's okay. But our whole situation is artificial. To have a body and to live in this world, everything is artificial. So therefore, we should try to go and do it. Go to the deity, try to beg for forgiveness, and try to pray for everybody. Okay, so let's continue.
Prabhuji, can I ask? Sorry.
Yeah, okay, ask.
Thank you. Prabhuji, as we discussed earlier also that what should we ask Krishna that now, of course, I'm repenting that yes, it is because of my bad karmas, please forgive me. And now after asking that, okay, please allow me to be Krishna conscious and another person to be Krishna, please help us that I'm become like this. And we pray to Narasimhadev also that, Bhakti Vigna Vinashak. So destroy. So sometime I asked this question earlier also. What can we ask from Krishna? Generally, a pure devotee doesn't ask from anything from Krishna, but I got the answer that we can ask for strength and intelligence from Krishna. So
Yeah.
it's And for service we can ask Krishna, and if if it is not helping in service, so we should not ask. So what exactly is it, like praying to Krishna, okay, forgive me? So I'm saying, yes, I'm a culprit, I did so much bad, but now you please forgive me. Is it not like asking again?
No, these are all legitimate prayers to Krishna. That's why it is there. That's why it is there in Bhagavatam. These are all legitimate prayers to Krishna. You can use this prayer and you can ask this to Krishna. And then the other thing is that we should also know what is our level. Suppose we should not try to be more than what we are. If we are too much in trouble and if we don't know how to solve it, we should not hesitate to go and ask Krishna, Krishna, please solve my problem. It's like too much for me, you know. We should not try to be someone whom we are not. Okay, that's also another important thing. We need not always try to be someone whom we are not. If we are, you know, like one devotee was telling me that I had such a strong desire to have a bike. So now what will I do? I only go and ask Krishna that please, you know, give me a bike. So that's more honest than, you know, trying to find some illegitimate way of trying to fulfill that desire. But at the same time, we can also tell Krishna, Krishna, see, this desire is troubling me so much. Either you fulfill this desire or you take this desire away from my heart. Do something so that I can be a little bit peaceful. Then let Krishna decide what he wants to do. Sometimes Krishna may give a bike, and then he may make us regret for the rest of our life. Why did we ask for a bike? So, so in this way, Krishna will also take care. Sometimes I have seen that in my own life. Sometimes I have some desire, and then Krishna fulfills the desire, and then I keep regretting, why did I have this desire? Why did, you know, that, you know? Then what to do? Then you are already with it. So the point is that we also should be honest in our approach to Krishna, and we should sincerely try to improve our situation in Krishna consciousness, and we should sincerely try to pray to Krishna, try to take all the help which is available around us through the Vaishnavas and everybody to progress in Krishna consciousness. Combination of these three is good. We should know what is the standard, we should know what we are, and we should have the sincere desire to reach the standard, and we should also work from the platform of what we are. Is that clear?
Yes, thank you, sir.
Okay. Let's move on. Let's proceed. Okay. Okay, please read.
A
A pure
devotee is
devotee.
aware that since nothing is unknown to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he need not to be informed, of a devotee's conveniences and inconveniences. A pure devotee knows that there is no need to ask the absolute truth for any material necessities. Therefore, while informing the Supreme Lord about their distress in being attacked by Vritrasur, the demigods apologize for offering prayers for their safety. The Lord is present everywhere and knows the necessities of his devotees. Consequently, there is no need to disturb him by asking him for material benefits.
So this is more or less a good summary of whatever we have discussed. So Prabhupada makes a nice summary of what we have discussed in detail. Okay, please read.
One need only seek shelter of the shade of the Lord's lotus feet, then all the material tribulations that disturb him will be subdued. Just as when one comes under the shadow of a big tree, the disturbances caused by the heat of the scorching sun are immediately mitigated without one's asking for relief. The conditioned soul suffering from various tribulations because of existing in this material world can be relieved only when he seeks shelter at the Lord's lotus feet.
Okay, good. Okay, please read.
But the advantage of such materialistic devotees is that they sometimes give up their material desires and become pure. When the demigods are utterly helpless, they approach the Supreme Personality of Godhead in grief and with tears in their eyes, praying to the Lord, and thus they become almost pure devotees, free from material desires. Admitting that they have forgotten pure devotional service because of extensive material opportunities, they fully surrender to the Lord, leaving to His consideration whether to maintain them or annihilate them. Such surrender is necessary.
Yeah, so in the process of simply praying to the Lord for protection also, we can be purified. So therefore, this is what Prabhupada is pointing out here, that sometimes we may have to, if we are unable to tolerate, better for us to pray to the Lord, and that prayer itself will purify also. Okay, please read.
The demigods certainly
The-
wanted Lord Vishnu to relieve their anxiety, but now they directly approach Lord Krishna. For although there is no difference between Lord Krishna and Lord Vishnu, Krishna descends to this planet in his Vasudev feature for the purpose of Paritranaya Sadhunam Vinashaya Cha Dushkatam, protecting his devotees and annihilating the miscreants. The world, or should I? Krishna explained himself as Vishnu, the way a bright candle kindles another. Although there is no difference between the power of the candle and another, Krishna is compared to the original candle. The word Mritsa Yashase is significant herein because Krishna is always famous for relieving his devotees from danger. A devotee who has sacrificed everything for the service of Krishna and whose only source of relief is the Lord is known as Akinchan.
Yeah, so therefore the great demigods, they actually prayed to Lord, then they prayed to Krishna. So this way they have expressed their complete situation. So now we'll read the translations from 46 onwards. We'll read it all the way up to the end of the chapter. Even though there are few sections in this, we just cover it all the way up to the end of the chapter, then we can go through the purports one after that. Okay, please read the translation.
Shri Shukadeva Goswami continued, O King Parikshit, when the demigods offered the Lord their sincere prayers in this way, the Lord listened to by his causeless mercy. Being pleased, he then replied to the demigods.
Okay, please read next translation.
The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, O beloved demigods, you have offered your prayers to me with great knowledge, and I am certainly most pleased with you. A person is liberated by such knowledge, and thus he remembers my exalted position, which is above the conditions of material life. Such a devotee is fully purified by offering prayers in full knowledge. This is the source of devotional service to me.
Okay, next.
O best of the intelligent demigods, although it is true that nothing is difficult for one to obtain, when I am pleased with him, a pure devotee whose mind is exclusively fixed upon me does not ask me for anything but the opportunity to engage in devotional service.
Okay, next.
Those who think material assets to be everything or to be the ultimate goal of life are called Maidas, Kripanans. They do not know the ultimate necessity of the soul. Moreover, if one awards that which is desired by such fools, he must also be considered foolish.
The Lord, I mean, there's a very nice reference in Chaitanya Charitamrita. Okay, please read, continue.
A pure
pure-
devotee. Sorry. Please, Prabhu, continue.
Please go ahead. A pure devotee who is fully accomplished in the science of devotional service will never instruct a foolish person to engage in futile activities for material enjoyment, not to speak of helping him in such activities. Such a devotee is like an experienced physician who never encourages the patient to eat food injurious to his health, even if the patient desires.
Hmm. Hmm. So the demigods are getting schooled by the Lord. The Lord is giving them some nice chastisement. Okay, please read.
O Meghavan, Indra, all good fortune unto you. I advise you to approach the exalted saint Dhadyancha. Dhadyancha Dhadichi. He has become very accomplished in knowledge, woes, and austerities, and his body is very strong. Go ask him for his body without delay.
So when the Lord spoke all these verses, then the demigods and Indra, they became very morose. They thought, oh, the Lord is chastising us so much, we're not going to get anything from him. So in order to remove their moroseness, the Lord immediately said Bhadram. He says Bhadram Vaha. All auspiciousness to all of you. So therefore he said, oh, even though I have told you that your approach is inappropriate, it's not that I'm not going to help you. So therefore, now he gives the remedy that how they can rectify their situation. Okay. So he told them to approach the Dincha. Okay.
That saintly Dhananjaya, who is also known as Dadachi, personally assimilated the spiritual science and then delivered it to the Ashwini Kumaras. It is said that Dhananjaya gave them mantras through the head of a horse. Therefore, the mantras are called Ashvashira. After obtaining the mantras of spiritual science from Dadachi, the Ashwini Kumaras became Jivan Mukta, liberated even in this life.
Okay. This whole pastime is explained here in the purport. We'll read it later. Okay, please continue.
Tadancha's invincible protective covering, known as Narayana Kavacha, was given to Twashta, who delivered it to his son Vishwarupa, from whom you have received it. Because of this Narayana Kavacha, Dadichi's body is now very strong. You should therefore beg him for his body.
Okay, next. Please read.
When the Ashwini Kumars beg for Tadyancha's body on your behalf, he will surely give it because of affection. Do not doubt this, for Tadyancha is very experienced in religious understanding. When the Dhyancha awards you his body, Vishwakarma will prepare a thunderbolt from his bones. This thunderbolt will certainly kill Vritrasur because it will be invested with my power.
Okay, next.
A devotee of the Lord is never envious of anyone, what to speak of other devotees.
Translation. Prabhuji.
Sorry. When Vritrasur is killed because of my spiritual strength, you will regain your strength, weapons, and wealth. Thus, there will be all good fortune, all of. Although Vritrasur can destroy all the three worlds, do not fear that he will harm you. He is also a devotee and will never be envious.
See, very beautifully the Lord concluded. He said that although Vitrasura can destroy all of you, but he will not do it because he's a devotee and he is not envious of you. Okay, so the Lord actually gave them the solution to their existing problem. Now we'll read the purports and then we go further. There's nice analysis of different types of devotees continues in this whole section. Okay, please read the purport.
Another name of the Supreme Personality of Godhead is Uttama Shloka, which means that he is offered prayers with selected verses. Even though they sometimes offer prayers, the prayers are not directed toward the Supreme Person. Impersonalists sometimes show their incomplete knowledge by addressing the Lord as being nameless. They always offer prayers indirectly saying, you are this, you are that. but they do not know to whom they are praying. If one continues to offer such personal prayers to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he is eligible to become a pure devotee and return home back to Godhead.
Yeah, so offering prayers is a very important part of our spiritual life. In Nectar of Devotion is said that one of the angas, or the two angas, deal with offering prayers. One anga is offering notable prayers, and the other anga is offering your own prayers. So both can be done. One can offer notable prayers, means that there are different prayers of great devotees in Srimad Bhagavatam. One can memorize those prayers and they can offer to the Lord according to their own desire and inclination. And then the other thing is that one could compose one's own prayer, either in prose or in poetry or in simple thoughts, and they could offer these prayers to the Lord. In general, in Nectar of Devotion, the prayers are divided into three types. So, anybody remembers what are the three types of prayers? Anyone? Yes, Daruka Krishna Prabhu.
What exactly that we call, I don't remember out of one is Danya Bodhika, I think. But what we should repeat the prayers of Acharyas. Second, we can
Oh, that
ask.
I already said. We can compose our own prayer, or we can not all prayers. One prayer you said is Vaibhava. Vaibhava is what type of prayer?
Prayer where we are seeking the mercy that how Dhanya is.
Yes. So Vaibhava prayers are prayers where we express our inability to perform devotional service and seek the mercy of the Lord to perform devotional service. So that is Vaibhava prayer. Okay. Rukmini Mataji, you know the other two type or one other type?
Lalsamai, when we cry for Krishna for his service.
Oh, okay. Lalsamai is a prayer, but not exactly what you defined. Anybody else?
Samprarthatmika,
Samprarthanatmika. So what is a Samprarthanatmika type?
expressing one's heartfelt desire for spontaneously.
Yes, expressing
Spontaneous devotion.
one's heartfelt prayers to the Lord in devotion. This is Samprarthanatmika. Dainyavadika is seeking for help. Lalasamai is what? What is Lalasamai?
Desiring some I think a perfectional stage, or desiring lalsamai is
आता है लेकिन confuse हो क्या आता है is correct. Whatever you said is correct, but I think you're not very clear. So desiring to do yes.
Desiring to go back to Godhead or serving Krishna.
No, that is there in all the prayers. Desiring to do a particular service in one's own constitutional position, having realized one's constitutional position. That is Lalasamai prayer. That one understands this is my constitutional position. And in that constitutional position, one wants to do some particular service to the Lord, according to one's constitutional position. And at that time, one offers prayers seeking such service. This is called Lalasamai prayer. So Lalasamai Prarthana is a very high level Prarthana. Of course, our Acharyas have given all the three type of prayers, Samprarthanatmika, Dainyavadika, and Lalasamai. We could also write prayers, which is at least Samprarthanatmika and Dainyavadika prayers, we can also write. Of course, if some of you know your constitutional position, and if you know what exactly service you are doing to Krishna, you can also write Lalasamai prayers. But in general, sadhakas, they can write their own Samprarthanatmika prayers and Dainyavadika prayers. But prayers are a very important aspect of our life. So therefore, we should definitely pray. And our prayer should be personal. Our prayer should not be impersonal. Sometimes in Vedic mantras, we find different impersonal prayers. This is what Prabhupada is pointing out. The Lord is addressed as this Prapancha, the Lord is addressed as everything, the Lord is addressed as this, that, but the Lord is not addressed as Krishna, Vasudeva, Devaki Nandana. The Lord is not addressed with his name. Rather, the Lord is addressed with different things which indicate him. These are all impersonal prayers. So we are not interested so much in the impersonal prayers. We are interested in calling out to Krishna, in calling out to the Lord, calling out to his energies. So that is the prayer, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. But we are also interested in chanting other prayers, which our acharyas have chanted, or maybe prayers which we write on our own. But those prayers should be personal in nature. That's very important. Okay. Go further. Please read.
The Lord wanted the demigods to pray for unalloyed devotional service, but instead they prayed for an opportunity to kill their enemy. Indirectly, the Lord regretted that the demigods did not ask for pure devotional service.
Yeah, so the Lord is not very happy when a devotee comes to him and he is asking for something which is insignificant. So therefore, the Lord, he was not very happy with them. So he said that a pure devotee, when he does not ask me for anything but to engage in devotional service, then when I am very happy. If he is asking me, okay, go do this, do that, I'm not very happy. That's what the Lord said very clearly. Okay. So the same theme is continuing till the end of this chapter. So please read.
If a Kripana, not knowing his self-interest, foolishly asks for something material, one who awards it to him is also foolish. Krishna, however, is not a foolish person. He is supremely intelligent. If someone comes to Krishna asking for material benefits, Krishna does not award him the material thing he desires. Instead, the Lord gives him intelligence so that he will forget his material desires and become attached to the Lord's lotus feet. In such cases, although the Kripana offers prayers to Lord Krishna for material things, the Lord takes away whatever material possessions the Kripana has and gives him the sense to become a devotee. If one sincerely prays to God for material possessions in exchange for devotional service, the Lord, who is not foolish like such an unintelligent devotee, shows him special favor by taking away whatever material possessions he has and gradually giving him the intelligence to be satisfied only by rendering service to his lotus feet. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur comments in this regard that if a foolish child requests his mother to give him poison, the mother, being intelligent, will certainly not give him poison, even though he requested it. A materialist does not know that to accept material possessions means to accept poison or the repetition of birth and death. An intelligent person, a Brahmana, aspires for liberation from material bondage. This is the real self-interest of a human being.
Yeah, so this is very nice purport where Prabhupada is explaining that how Krishna acts. But Krishna generally doesn't act like this with everybody. So if Krishna acts like this with a person, then it should be understood that that is a special favor, like Prabhupada explains this in some other purport. That it's a very special favor that Krishna actually acts like this. So therefore, that person is very fortunate because Krishna is not giving him material possession. Rather, Krishna is giving him pure bhakti, by which Krishna himself can be purchased. So even in this case, with the demigods, we can see that Krishna actually, the Lord actually spoke all this, but he simply gave them what they wanted. So, but in case of Vritrasura, the Lord acted very differently. the Lord actually put him in a very precarious situation in which he can completely surrender to the Lord and give up all his material possessions, and he can go back to Godhead ultimately. So, what the Lord is going to do with Vritrasura, indirectly, he explained it to Indra and others. And the Lord indirectly indicated to Indra and others that Vritrasura is going to be more fortunate than them. Because Vritrasura is a pure devotee, and he is not asking for staying and enjoying in this material world. So therefore, more or less, the Lord was trying to tell Indra and others that what is going to happen with them. He's explaining to them that this is what is going to happen with you. And in the end, he concludes by glorifying Vritrasura. Okay, please read the purport.
Here is the difference between the benedictions awarded by the demigods and those awarded by the Supreme Personality of God, Vishnu. Devotees' conditioned souls are generally bereft of intelligence because of profound desires or sense gratification. They do not know what benediction to ask. All requests for benedictions from demigods are due to material lust. The benedictions will be finished at the end of cosmic manifestation, along with those who bestow them. A devotee may foolishly ask for material benedictions, but Lord Krishna does not give him such benedictions despite the devotee's prayers. A non-Vaishnav, one who is not engaged in the service of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is considered a fool with a small quantity of brain substance.
Why he is considered a fool with small quantity of brain substance? Because he is putting so much austerity to please someone, and then he is trying to get something from someone. If he simply uses the same austerity to please Krishna and request him to get out of this material existence, he can actually get that from Krishna, which is far, far better than whatever he can get by his austerities to please any demigod. So therefore, here Prabhupada says that he is not very intelligent. Okay, Rukmini Hari Sevini, your hand is up.
Yes, Prabhuji. Prabhuji, in the 49th purport, we read that if you ask for any, I could understand that if you ask for any material thing and Krishna gives, because it can be a reason for repetition of birth and death.
Yeah.
And earlier I asked you that what should I ask from Krishna? So you said that one of the point was like, ki, I should know my matlab, level. So according to that also I can ask. So I just wanted to ask one thing, Prabhuji. In my life only there is one problem, that is my health. Previously I have used not to ask anything, but yes, I prayed and I said that I want to serve for my sadhana and service. You please bless me with a good health. So and yes, my health got better also. When I used not to ask anything, my health was pathetic and I was not able to do my sadhana and service. So I'm just afraid that will it repetition of birth and death. So and doing this, will it caught me in this like of
So now you go and tell Krishna, Krishna, I am doing nice sadhana. So don't give me repetition of birth and death. Please take me back home, back to Godhead. That's it.
Thank
So you can tell Krishna that Krishna, see, my health was so bad. I was not able to chant my rounds. So I asked you for good health. Now you gave me good health. Thank you very much. Now I'm chanting my rounds. I'm doing my devotional service. But please take me back home, back to God. Go and ask him. Okay. But when you get good health, then you should also do what you're supposed to do. Not that you get good health and then you start, jumping up and down and then not do what you're supposed to do. So that's also another important thing, that we ask for something from Krishna, which relates to the body, and then Krishna gives it to us. Then we should become very dedicated in our devotional service. I'm not saying you're not. I'm just saying generally. I'm not talking about your particular case. You're in Vrindavan, you're trying to do some service. I know all that. But I'm saying that we should become very sincere and dedicated in our devotional service. We should not have this mentality, okay, anyway, जो मांगा वो तो मिल गया, अभी थोड़ा सा उसका enjoy भी कर लेते हैं. So we should not get into that kind of mentality. So we should be thankful for what we got, and we should try to offer it back in Krishna service, so that we can get detached from this idea that I want this, I want that, and then try to improve our situation. That's why I said that you know what is the standard, you know where you are, and you offer some prayers according to your position, but you always desire to reach the standard. So then your prayers also should be the desire to reach the standard, that Krishna, I want to be like this also. Please make me also like this. I want to be like this also. Okay.
One related this also, which you said, I wanted to ask also. That's a Nadhanam Najananam Sundari Kavita Jagdish Kame Mam Janmani Janmani Ishwe Bhaktar Bhakti Hetu Kitoi. So I say this, but in my heart, I want to go back home, back to Godhead. I don't want to. I say that till now, please engage me in the service. But after this birth, I want to go back home, back to Godhead. I don't have that standard. I know the standard is not go back home to Godhead. It's Krishna Prem, and a devotee can have Krishna Prem in the material world also, and he's ready to come for the proper service and Guru Prasad service to come here to take the reach like this. So how to set that goal? It's above my level, but I know the level, but I am not at levels.
So the problem with this going back home, back to Godhead is that we are all having so much bodily conception of life that we think that going back home, back to Godhead is like going from Mayapur to Delhi, or from going from Delhi to America, that you have to pack your bag and then, take a plane and then go from one place to another place. This is the problem with us, because we are so much in bodily conception that we think that going back home, back to Godhead means we should go from one place to another place. Okay. But going back home, back to Godhead is not about going from one place to another place. It is going from one consciousness to another consciousness. He is going from bodily consciousness to Krishna consciousness. So when a person goes from 100% bodily consciousness to 100% Krishna consciousness, he has gone back home, back to Godhead. So incidentally, he may continue to stay in the material world. Incidentally, he may leave this material world. So continuing to stay in the material world or leaving the material world becomes an incidental matter for him. It is not a consideration for him. Now, for us, because we are so much in bodily conception of life, that we think that, going for us means we should physically move from one place to another place. So we apply the same conception to going back home, back to Godhead also. We think that, okay, now I should pack my bags, I will take one plane and then I will go to Goloka or Vaikuntha or something like that. Okay, it is true also. But at the same time, it's more about consciousness. It's not so much about a physical change of place. Because by such consciousness, one can manifest Vrindavan anywhere and everywhere. We can be in Mayapur, we can be in Vrindavan, and we may live in the material world. Like I'm in Mayapur, but I still live in the material world. I still think, where is my AC? Where is my this thing? Where is my that thing? So I'm living in Mayapur, but I'm living in material world. But there are other people who don't live in Mayapur, but they are so much in Mayapur consciousness that they live in spiritual world. So that's why, in order to understand Mama Janmani Janmani Ishware, Bhavata Bhakti Hetu Kitoi, you have to start from beginning. What is that? Cheto Darpanamarjanam Bhavamaha Davagni Nirvapanam. So in the first shloka, you understand how important it is to chant the holy name. In the second shloka, you understand how unfortunate you are that even knowing that Krishna, chanting the holy name is important, but still you are not attached to it. In the third shloka, you are trying to remove your misfortune by getting qualities which will cause your good fortune. And what is the good fortune? The good fortune is to constantly chant the holy name. In the fourth shloka, having constantly chanted the holy name, you are realizing the futility of what you were thinking as important before. Okay. And in the fifth shloka is actually when you are starting to miss Krishna. And in fifth shloka, the consciousness is changing from material consciousness to Krishna consciousness. Because that's when you start missing Krishna. And in sixth shloka, you are actually understanding what it means to miss Krishna. In the seventh shloka, you are actually missing Krishna. In the eighth shloka, in separation from Krishna, you are with Krishna. So this is how Shikshashtakam is there. Okay. So we should go step by step. We should go step by step. Right? Before going to Mama Janmani Janmanishware, we should first try to understand that Durdaiva Midrisha Mihajani Nanuragaha. We should try to understand that. And we should try to practice Trinadapi Sunichena, Taroriva Sarishnuna, Manina Manadena. And we should try to go to the standard of Kirtaniya Sada Hari. Okay. So then comes the detachment from what is material and the detachment from what is so-called spiritual. So that situation comes. The material is Dhanam, Janam, Sundarim, Kavitam, and the so-called spiritual is impersonal liberation. So then comes the detachment from these two things. So one should go step by step. If one tries to jump to some step where we are exactly not in before trying to realize the previous step, then one will get into all this kind of confusion that whether this is right or that is right. There is no difference between going back to Godhead and saying Mama Janmani Janmanishware Bhavatat Bhakti Rahitu Hitvai. Is not that this is different, that is different. Okay.
Thank you so much.
It's clear.
Yes, Prabhuji, thank you so much.
But we should chant Shikshashtakam, all the 8 slokas every day, because this is aspirational prayer for us. Like one day we want to miss Krishna. One day we want to feel Krishna's presence in his separation. One day we want to do all those things. So it's a very aspirational prayer for us. That's why we chant Krishna Shikshashtakam every day, and we should chant Shikshashtakam every day. Okay. So there's no difference between Mama Janmani Janmanishware and going back to Godhead. Okay. They are not two opposite prayers.
Prabhuji, can I ask one last question related to this? It's very small.
You think it is last? Okay.
Yes. Prabhuji, I have heard also that when devotees, as this consciousness, they don't think it's about consciousness, staying here or going there, it's about consciousness. So when they chant, the person who know their Swarupa, they will serve in while chanting, they will serve the Lord. So is it like ऐसा?
What is the question?
Question is like Prabhuji that we get everything from our chanting. Chanting is very important. When we chant, like what we do, we chant the mantra and we pray that I'm so fallen, please forgive me, and please now I have understood, please take me back, like this. So it's like this is my level. So when the person knows the Swarupa, just wanted to it always comes to my mind. And after a certain age, a person comes to know that for which service the person devotee has attraction for. And there could be a stage like this I want to ask, like they know the you say that they know their service and they chant and they do the service while chanting like this. If it's
Yeah. So I understood. Okay. So the point is that in Bhajana Rasya, Bhaktivinoda Thakur talks about 2 types of sadhakas: the Jatarati sadhaka and Ajatarati sadhaka. Okay. Ajatarati sadhaka means that a devotee whose natural attraction to Krishna has not arisen. Jagrati sadhaka means a devotee whose natural attraction to Krishna has arisen. So the 8 pairs in the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, it works differently for both of them. So for the person whose attraction has not arisen, the 8 pairs are working to give him Shraddha, Sadhusanga, Bhajana Kriya, Anartha Nivritti, Nishtha, Ruchi, etc. Okay. So these 8 pairs are giving him all those things. For a person whose attraction to Krishna has arisen, for that person, those 8 pairs are actually taking him into the eightfold pastimes of the Lord. So, therefore, that's why Prabhupada said that you don't require some Vrindavan Babaji to tell you that who are you, and then, whisper in your ears, you are so and so. So then he tells you are monkey, then you start jumping every day while chanting, saying that I am monkey. You don't require all this nonsense. You simply chant the holy name, and the name will reveal the form, the qualities, the pastimes, and the confidence. So one should just focus on chanting the holy name and trying to go through the initial stages, which is Shraddha, Sadhusanga, Bhajana Kriya, Anartha Nivritti, Nishtha. One should try to focus on this. If one is able to focus on this, then in due time, the holy name will reveal everything. So there is no need for trying to do some gymnastics with it, or trying to some artificially think that, I am Saki, I am Manjari, I am monkey, I am flower, I am cow. Yeah, all nonsense is not required. Just focus on chanting the holy name properly and hear the name. Prabhupada gave us clear instruction: chant and hear. So we should try to focus on this instruction.
Thank
And
you very
due
much.
course, everything will happen. Okay. Okay, please read. Haribol, please reading.
Everyone in this material world, from Lord Brahma down to the ant, is eager to keep his body comfortable. A pure devotee may also be comfortable, but he is not eager for such a benediction.
Okay. Yes, please read the story. The great saint Dadichi. Please read.
The great Saint Dadichi had perfect knowledge of how to perform fruitive activities, and he had advanced spiritual knowledge as well. Knowing this, the Ashwini Kumaras once approached him and begged him to instruct them in spiritual science, Brahma Vidya. Dadichi Muni replied, I am now engaged in arranging sacrifices for fruitive activities. Come back sometime later. When the Ashwini Kumaras left, Indra, the king of heaven, approached Dadichi and said, My dear Muni, the Ashwini Kumaras are only physicians. Please do not instruct them in spiritual science. If you impart the spiritual science to them despite my warning, I shall punish you by cutting off your head. After warning Dadichi in this way, Indra returned to heaven. The Ashwini Kumaras, who understood Indra's desires, returned and begged Dadichi for Brahma Vidya. When the great saint Dadichi informed them of Indra's threat, the Ashwini Kumaras replied, Let us first cut off your head and replace it with the head of a horse. You can instruct Brahma Vidya through the horse head, and when Indra returns and cuts off that head, we shall reward you and restore your original head. Since Dadichi had promised to impart Brahma Vidya to the Ashwini Kumaras, he agreed to their proposal. Therefore, because Dadichi imparted Brahma Vidya through the mouth of a horse, this Brahma Vidya is also known as Ashvaishira.
Yeah. So it's very interesting that Brahma, this Indra, he seems to be very interested in cutting everybody's head. So he cut Vishnurupa's head, he cut Dadichi's head. So it looks like that he is a head cutter. And he also now has to go back to Dadichi. And the Lord actually sent Indra to, Lord is also translated to Joker. The Lord sometimes plays practical jokes with many people. And this is the Lord's practical joke with Indra. That the very Dadichi whose head he cut, Lord sent him to him. He said, go and ask for his body. And this guy is going to help you. So this is a good lesson for us in terms of trying to understand how blind we become when we are a materialistic devotee. That when a devotee gets overcome by material desires, then he can go and do many things which is very, very crazy. Like, he goes to the Rishi, he's asking for his body, he goes and tries to kill Vritrasura, everything just to remain as Indra. So therefore, that's why I said that to please study this management style or leadership style of Indra and also Vritrasura, and see that how these kind of styles will affect us in Krishna consciousness. Okay, so read the last purport.
A devotee of the Lord is never envious of anyone, what to speak of other devotees. Therefore, he was not expected to be envious of the demigods. Indeed, of his own accord, he would try to benefit the demigods. A devotee does not hesitate to give up his own body for a better cause. After all one's material possessions, including his body, will be destroyed in due course of time. Therefore, if the body and other possessions can be utilized for a better cause, a devotee never hesitates to give up even his own body. Because Lord Vishnu wanted to save the demigods, Vritrasura, even though able to swallow the three worlds, would agree to be killed by the demigods. For a devotee, there is no difference between living and dying, because in this life, a devotee engages in devotional service, and after giving up his body, he engages in the same service in the spiritual world. His devotional service is never hindered.
You see, there's the same thing that what we're discussing about understanding what it means to go back to Godhead. So a devotional service of the devotee is never hindered, whether he has a body or he doesn't have a body, he is never hindered. So therefore, the devotee is never disturbed. This is what finally it will conclude. This is the conclusion of the sixth canto. What is the conclusion of the sixth canto? Narayana para sarvena kutaschana vibhyati Swarga apavarga narakeshu apitulyartha darshinaha. This is the conclusion of the sixth canto. The sixth canto starts with the question, how to avoid going to hell? And it ends with the conclusion, for a pure devotee, it doesn't make a difference. So, therefore, this point is being brought up here by Prabhupada, that living or dying doesn't make any difference for a pure devotee. Okay, so that brings us to the end of this chapter. So any questions, comments, or anything which is bothering you in this chapter before we move to the next chapter? Anything unresolved? Anything you have to say? Any point you want to bring up? This is your time. Yes.
Prabhuji, in the beginning, you said that Bhagavatam is all about Vritrasura. So can you please tell Banu in little bit more that how Bhagavatam is about Vritrasura? It is not going in my head.
No, I didn't say Bhagavatam is all about Vritrasura. Probably you should go back and hear the recording.
Yeah, something.
That Vritrasura is part of Bhagavatam's identity or something like that. Or Bhagavatam is identified by Vritrasura's pastime. Something like that. Because Prabhupada says, because in the first canto it is said that in Matsya Purana, he said Bhagavatam is a Purana where Dhritarashtra's pastime is explained. So in this connection, I said this is very important for us to understand that Dhritarashtra's pastime is one of the part of identity of Srimad Bhagavatam. Why it is part of identity of Srimad Bhagavatam? For that, we have to go through the other chapters. You will see that Dhritarashtra is an extraordinary person. He is not an ordinary person. He is an extraordinary person. And he's a great devotee. Even though being in the form of a demon. Even though now we have seen Dhritarashtra, but we have seen Dhritarashtra only in one way, which is that he likes to eat the weapons of the demigods. So we have seen him as a very unique person who has a unique type of culinary taste. Everybody likes to eat paneer sabji, halwa, puri, aloo sabji, but this person likes to eat demigods' weapons. So this is how we have seen Dhritarashtra. But we are going to see Dhritarashtra as a devotee, and then we are going to see his prayers, his soft sentiments, and his attachment to his Lord. So all that we are going to see. So that time we'll understand why Bhagavatam, one of the identity of Bhagavatam is Dhritarashtra. Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, thus ends the Bhakti and the purport of 6th canto, 9th chapter of Srimad Bhagavatam, entitled Appearance of the demon Dhritarashtra. So now we go to chapter 10, which is battle between the demigods and Dhritarashtra. So before we enter into the chapter, let us take a 10 minutes break. We'll finish our Gayatri. It's 11:50 now. We can come back at 12 o'clock. Then we'll start the brand new chapter. Okay. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram. Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Ram, Hare Hare. Okay, so we'll continue with our discussion. Yes, Mataji, Anglila Mataji, you have your hand up. You want to say something?
Yeah, I have a question. Like we see here, whatever the role Indra has played, and over the other seen over the previous past times, also many other in the scriptures, time and again, that somehow Indra has been able to attract the Lord's mercy, and the Lord is always there with him, whatever in many circumstances, apart from these Vritasura's pastime. Also, other than that, also, what is that there in Indra that he has been able to seek the shelter of the Lord, and also the Lord is time and again, every time he has been willing to help him.
Okay. So it's a very nice question. This question is answered in detail in the coming chapters in the purports. Whether now the first question is whether Lord is helping Indra or not. Okay. So that itself is put to question in the coming chapters. Whom did Lord help? Lord helped Indra or Lord helped Vritasura? So Lord helped Indra and Lord also helped Vritasura. But Lord helped Indra according to his desires and Lord helped Vritasura according to his desires. So this question of whether Indra, the Lord is partial to Indra or the demigods, is the main subject matter of discussion of the 7th canto. So the 7th canto starts with this question, that the same question which you asked is being asked by Parikshit Maharaj. That Parikshit Maharaj is asking to Sukadeva Goswami, how come that the Lord is always helping Indra? And how come the Lord is always favoring Indra? He is always against demons. How can we say that Lord is impartial? Lord is always partial to Indra. So this question he is asking. So in reply to this question, in order to prove that the Lord is impartial, the Lord is equally disposed towards the demons and the demigods. Now the whole Hiranyakashipu's pastime is being spoken by Sukadeva Goswami. Now, there this question has been very elaborately discussed, but here this question is also discussed especially about Indra. And when we go to those relevant sections, we will discuss this point in detail. But the short answer to your question is in 2 points. One point is that Indra is not a crazy guy. Okay, he is a very exalted person, but at the same time, the position of Indra, which is taken by different devotees, this is a position within the material world. So the purpose of Bhagavatam is to make us completely detached from this material world. So therefore, Bhagavatam presents Indra in a very de-glamorized form. There is no glamour in Indra's position in the presentation of Bhagavatam. Why? Because Bhagavatam doesn't even want us to consider that, oh, I should become Indra. So therefore, Bhagavatam picks and chooses all the pastimes where when you study about Indra, you start thinking, hey, I don't want to be this person. Okay. Because that is Bhagavatam's character. Okay. But in spite of that, you also see the Lord is always favoring him. Why? Because he is worthy of Lord's favor. He is a great personality. He is a great devotee. And of course, we are not dealing with one Indra. Indra is a post We are dealing with many persons. And all these persons are great personalities. They are great devotees. And they are completely surrendered to the Lord. That is why they are in Indra's position. If they are not completely surrendered to the Lord, they will not be in that position. They are totally dependent on the Lord. They may display some defects in their character, but they are totally dependent on the Lord. So they become quickly repentant. They immediately go and depend on the Lord. They are shameless in their surrender to the Lord. So therefore, the Lord naturally reciprocates with those devotees who occupy the position of Indra in a certain way. So that is also another aspect which you all should study, that how Indra may have many defects, but his one great strength is that he is always dependent on the Lord. And he is willing to go through everything. He has his moments of crisis, but because he is in good company, he is in good association, he is able to overcome these moments of crisis. And overall, he is always dependent on the Supreme Lord. So therefore, the Lord is always favoring him. On the other hand, the demons, they are not dependent on the Supreme Lord. They are thinking that they are completely independent. So therefore, it looks like the Lord is not favoring them. But the seventh canto actually explains how the Lord favors the demons also. It's not that the Lord is not favoring them. The Lord is favoring them also. How he favors them, that is elaborately explained in the seventh canto. Okay, but now here we have Indra, who is a demigod, and Vritrasura, who is a proverbial demon. Now we will see that from the beginning of dealing with Indra, the Lord is glorifying Vritrasura. Okay, he told Indra how to kill Vritrasura, but at the same time, he also told Indra, see, don't think Vritrasura is like a simple guy. He can actually kill all of you. But he's not going to do it because he's non-envious of you. He's going to help you. He's a devotee. So even though he is a demon, Vritrasura is a demon, now the Lord is actually glorifying Vritrasura in front of Indra. So then we'll see that Lord actually distributes two kinds of favors. One kind of favor to a devotee who is pure, and the other kind of favor to a devotee who is materialistic. So we'll see the difference between the Lord's favor to Indra and Vritrasura. So we'll continue. Okay. Okay, please read translations.
Sri Shukdev Goswami said, after instructing Indra in this way, the Supreme Personality of Godhead Hari, the cause of all cosmic manifestation, then and there disappeared from the presence of the onlooking demigods.
Yeah. The Lord spoke and then he went away. Okay.
O King Parishit, following the Lord's instruction, the demigods approached Dadichi, the son of Atharva. He was very liberal, and when they begged him to give them his body, he at once partially agreed. However, just to hear religious instructions from them, he smiled and jokingly spoke as follows.
Okay, next.
O elevated demigods, at the time of death, severe unbearable pain takes away the consciousness of all living entities who have accepted material bodies. Don't you know about this pain?
Okay, next.
In this material world, every living entity is very much addicted to his material body, struggling to keep his body forever. Everyone tries to protect it by all means, even at the sacrifice of all his possessions. Therefore, who would be prepared to deliver his body to anyone, even if it were demanded by Lord Vishnu?
Okay, next.
The demigods replied, O exalted Brahmana, a pious persons like you, whose activities are praiseworthy, are very kind and affectionate to the people in general. What can't such pious souls give for the benefit of others? They can give everything, including their bodies.
Okay, next.
Those who are too self-interested beg something from others, not knowing of others' pain. But if the beggar knew the difficulty of the giver, he would not have asked for anything. Similarly, he who is able to give charity does not know the beggar's difficulty, for otherwise he would not refuse to give the beggar anything he might want as charity.
Very, very interesting reply which they have given. So, anyway. Okay, please read.
The great sage Dadichi said, just to hear from you about religious principles, I refuse to offer my body at your request. Now, although my body is extremely dear to me, I must give it up for your better purposes, since I know that it will leave me today or tomorrow.
Okay, please, next.
O demigods, one who has no compassion for humanity in this suffering does not sacrifice impairment body for the higher causes of religious principles or eternal glory is certainly pitied even by the immovable beings.
Okay, next.
If one is unhappy to see the distress of other living beings and happy to see their happiness, his religious principles are appreciated as imperishable by exalted persons who are considered pious and benevolent.
Okay, next.
His body, which is eatable by jackals and dogs after death, does not actually do any good for me, the spirit soul. It is usable only for a short time and may perish at any moment. The body and its possessions, its riches and relatives must all be engaged for the benefits of others, or else they will be sources of tribulation and misery.
Okay, next.
Shri Shukadev Goswami said, Dadichi Muni, the son of Atharva, thus resolved to give his body to the service of the demigods. He placed himself, the spirit soul, at the lotus feet of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and in this way gave up his gross material body made of 5 elements.
Okay. Please read.
The Rishi Muni controlled his senses, life force, mind, and intelligence, and became absorbed in trance. Thus he cut all his material bonds. He could not perceive how his material body became separated from the self.
Okay, next.
Thereafter, King Indra very firmly took up the thunderbolt manufactured by Vishwakarma from the bones of the Tichi, charged with the exalted power of the Tichi Muni and enlightened by the power of Supreme Personality of Godhead. Indra rode on the back of his carrier Eravat, surrounded by all the demigods, while all great sages offered him praise. Thus he shone very beautifully, pleasing the 3 worlds as the road of to kill Vritsrasura.
Okay, so we'll read this section purports, and then we'll go to the next section, which is the battle between the demigods and the Vritsrasura. Okay, please read the purport.
Struggling to keep his body forever, one must protect his body by all means, then he may protect his religious principles and thereafter his possessions. No one wants to give up his body unless it is forcefully given away.
So Prabhupada is saying that he's explaining the same logic of the Dinchi. Okay, please read.
A beggar should not ask charity from a person who is in difficulty. Similarly, one who is able to give charity should not deny a beggar. Everything within this material world will be destroyed, and therefore one should use everything for good purposes. If one is advanced in knowledge, he must always be prepared to sacrifice anything for a better cause. At the present moment, the entire world is in a dangerous position under the spell of a godless civilization. The Krishna consciousness movement needs many exalted, learned persons who will sacrifice their lives to revive God consciousness throughout the world. We therefore invite all men and women advanced in knowledge to join the Krishna consciousness movement and sacrifice their lives for the great cause of reviving the God consciousness of human society.
So Prabhupada takes this opportunity of the Nichi being asked to sacrifice his body, and he's inviting all of us to give our time and resources to the Krishna consciousness movement. It's a good call to accept. Okay, please read.
To accept sannyas means to commit civil suicide. But sannyas is compulsory, at least for every Brahmana, every first-class human being. Accepting very humble lives as mendicants, wearing no more than loincloths and torn quilts, open cunt. They lived in Vrindavan and followed Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's order to excavate Vrindavan's lost glories. Similarly, everyone else with a materially comfortable condition in this world should join the Krishna consciousness movement to elevate the fallen souls. The word Bhut Dayaya, Maya Mrigam, Dayitapeshitam, and Dina Ganeshu Karunya all convey the same sense. These are very significant words for those interested in elevating human society to a proper understanding of life. One should join the Krishna consciousness movement, following the example of such great personalities as Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, 6 Goswamis, and before them the great sage Dadichi. Instead of wasting one's life for temporary bodily comforts, one should always be prepared to give up one's life for better causes. After all, the body will be destroyed. Therefore, one should sacrifice it for the glory of distributing religious principles throughout the world.
So here also, Prabhupada is repeating this point that why we should give our time and energy to the Krishna conscious movement. And then why we should serve the Krishna conscious movement. It's a very clarion call which Prabhupada is giving. And Prabhupada mentions a very interesting point here. He says that sannyas is compulsory, at least for Brahman. So once I was with my spiritual master and somehow this topic of second initiation came up. And then my spiritual master was commenting that, oh, so many people want second initiation. So I told him that, Guru Maharaj, I remember reading in a purport that Prabhupada is saying that for all Brahmanas, sannyas is compulsory. So probably we should make this as condition, people who want second initiation, that all men who want second initiation should take sannyas. Then maybe less people will become interested in second initiation. I was just joking with him. So I just remembered this is the purport where Prabhupada actually says that those who take second initiation, sannyas is compulsory. For Brahmana, sannyas is compulsory. Of course, maybe a little difficult to say now, but that's the system. And eventually these things should become practical. Those who take second initiation, they should also be ready to take sannyas. And Prabhupada is also saying in these two purports that why we should join the Krishna conscious movement. So we'll hear a little bit more about the same topic again. Okay, please read.
Everyone should be unhappy to see others in distress and happy to see others happy. Atmavat sarve bhuteshu. One should feel the happiness and distress of others as his own. We feel pain when someone disturbs us, and therefore we should not inflict pain upon other living beings. One cannot continue killing animals and at the same time be a religious man. That is the greatest hypocrisy. One should be happy to see others happy, and one should be unhappy to see others unhappy. This is the principle to be followed. Aham Bija Pradapita. The different forms of these living entities are only their eternal dresses. External dresses. Every living being is actually a spirit soul and a part and parcel of God. Therefore, one should not favor only one kind of living being. A Vaishnava is a paradukha dukhi. He is always unhappy to see the conditioned soul in an unhappy state of materialism. Therefore, a Vaishnava is always busy preaching Krishna consciousness throughout the world.
Yeah. So that is that mood we should have as preachers, that not only we experience the joy of Krishna consciousness, but we should also let others experience the joy of Krishna consciousness. That is the real purpose of studying Bhagavatam. So one aspect of studying Bhagavatam is to actually understand and relish Srimad Bhagavatam. That is okay. That's important. That is our personal aspect. But the other aspect of studying Bhagavatam is also that we should become stalwart preachers of Srimad Bhagavatam. Otherwise, just studying Bhagavatam only for selfish interest is not so good. In the first canto, in Narad Muni's previous life, the very specific defect which was pointed out to Narad Muni when the Lord appeared to him briefly was Narad Muni was attached to mode of goodness, and he was not considering preaching to others. So therefore, one of the important purposes of such a systematic study of Bhagavatam, you're putting so much time to study Bhagavatam, attending different classes, hearing from different devotees, going through Prabhupada's purports, taking exams, writing essays. You are spending enough and more quality time on Srimad Bhagavatam. And one of the important purposes of doing that is to go out and preach Srimad Bhagavatam. That is something which you should definitely do. All of you should consider that very, very seriously. Either extensively preaching Srimad Bhagavatam or teaching Srimad Bhagavatam. That's something which you should do without fail. You should preach and teach Srimad Bhagavatam. So then there is, then we can, in one sense, we can enjoy the real taste of Srimad Bhagavatam, because when we give it to others, when we try to see that how we can remove their distress by giving them Srimad Bhagavatam, then we are having the true mood of Vaishnava. Otherwise, like Prahlad says in his prayer, that many devotees who are simply interested in their own salvation. But he criticizes them. He says, but as far as I'm concerned, I want everybody to be liberated. And in that purport, Prabhupada writes that is the mood of a devotee in ISKCON, that we should, of course, we should be very serious about our personal advancement in Krishna consciousness, because that is what will actually make our preaching effective. Purity is the force. So therefore, we should be very interested in our personal advancement in Krishna consciousness. But we should not be only interested in our personal advancement. We should be equally interested in preaching the glories of Srimad Bhagavatam to everywhere. Okay, please read.
Of course, in human society, there are many institutions to help others, but because philanthropists do not know how to help others, their propensity for philanthropy is ineffectual. They do not know the ultimate goal of life, Shreya Acharanam, which is to please the Supreme Lord. If all philanthropic and humanitarian activities were directed toward achieving the ultimate goal of life, to please the Supreme Personality of Godhead, they would all be perfect. Humanitarian work without Krishna is nothing. Krishna must be brought to the center of all our activities, otherwise no activity will have value.
So Krishna is the one, and rest of all other activities is the zero. So if we don't place the one, the zeros, we may put many zeros, all those zeros have no value. So unless you place Krishna, who is the one, in front, then the zeros will have value. Okay, please read.
By identifying his material conception of life, he gradually separated his spirit soul from material connections and placed himself at the lotus feet of Supreme Personality of Godhead. The example given in this connection is that When an earthen pot is broken, the small portion of the sky within the pot is united with the large sky outside the pot. Mayavadi philosophers misunderstand this description of Srimad Bhagavatam. Therefore, Sri Ramanuj Swami, in his book Vedanta Tattva Sar, has described that this merging of a soul means that after separating himself from the material body made of 8 elements earth, water, fire, air, ether, false ego, mind, and intelligence, the individual soul engages himself in devotional service to the Supreme Personality of Godhead in his eternal form. When one overcomes the material body through cultivation of spiritual knowledge and devotional service, one can receive his own position and thus engage in the service of the Lord.
So here Prabhupada very clearly explains that what it means to leave the body and go back to Godhead. Okay, please read.
Of course, one must practice before one is overcome by death, but the perfect yogi, namely the devotee, dies in trance. Thinking of Krishna, he does not feel his material body being separated from his soul. The soul is immediately transferred to the spiritual world. The Bhakti Yoga always thinks of Krishna, and therefore at the time of death he can very easily transfer himself to Krishna Lok without even perceiving the pains of death.
Okay. Okay, so now we are going to read some action-packed adventure. So, which is the fight between the demigods and the demons. Okay, so we start from verse number 15. We go all the way up to the end of the chapter. Okay, please read. Translation.
My dear King Parikshit, as Rudra, being very angry at Antaka, Yamaraj, had informally run toward Antaka to kill him, Indra angrily and with great force attacked Vritasura, who was surrounded by the leaders of the demoniac armies.
So it is said that Markandeya's parents, Markandeya Rishi's parents, they actually prayed for a very intelligent son. But then the Lord said that you can get an intelligent son, but he will have only limited life. So they agreed. So then the Markandeya Rishi was born to them, and he was supposed to die at the age of 16. So this boy grew up, he became very intelligent, and he knew everything. He knew all the Shastra, and then he was very expert. Then when he was going to be 16, then his parents told him, now it's time for you to die. You have to leave your body because this is the arrangement. So then Markandeya became very disturbed, this boy. And then he went and then he prayed to Lord Shiva. And throughout the night he was praying to Lord Shiva. And at the time, the appointed time of death came and Yamaraj came to take his life. And at that time, this boy, he went and embraced Lord Shiva's linga form. And he was praying to Lord Shiva for protection. And then suddenly Lord Shiva appeared from the linga. And he was chasing Yamaraj. And he was saying, hey, why you want to kill this boy? This boy is with me. You should not kill him. So then there was this chase between Yamaraj and Shiva. And then finally Yamaraj informed him what to do. I have to take his life because his life is ending at the age of 16. So then Lord Shiva said, okay, I give him benediction. He will always be 16. He will never become older than 16. So this way, there was this disturbance between Yamaraj and Lord Shiva due to the case of Markandeya. And then, because now he is going to be always at 16 and he is never going to cross 16, technically Yamaraj cannot kill him. So Yamaraj also went away. And Markandeya is considered as a Chiranjeevi. And he used for a long time. Now, this is one interaction between Lord Shiva and Markandeya Rishi. This is given in other Puranas. But there is an interesting interaction between Lord Shiva and Markandeya Rishi, which is given in the Bhagavatam, in the 12th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, where Markandeya Rishi is constantly meditating on the Supreme Lord, and Lord Shiva comes And because Markandeya Rishi is very, very deep in his meditation, so he doesn't notice Lord Shiva and Parvati. So then Lord Shiva and Parvati, they just simply wait for him to come out of his meditation. They wait upon him. And then when he comes out of his meditation, then he sees this Lord Shiva and Parvati is there. They're very happy, he receives them, and then Lord Shiva says, okay, you take some benediction from me. And Markandeya says, no, I don't need any benediction. So we find this interaction between Markandeya and Lord Shiva in Bhagavatam. It's a very interesting, considering that Markandeya went to Lord Shiva for protection of his body when he was a small boy. And then after many millions of years of austerities, then Lord Shiva meets Markandeya as a perfect devotee. Then they have a different type of interaction with each other. Interaction is very sweet. The Lord interaction is really very sweet. And then Lord Shiva, he actually leaves the place singing the glories of Markandeya. So this is a very nice interaction between two Vaishnavas and how they just interact with each other. Anyway, so this is the context of Lord Shiva chasing Yamaraj. Okay, let's go on.
Thereafter, at the end of Satyuga and the beginning of Treta Yuga, a fierce battle took place between the demigods and the demons on the bank of the Narmada.
So Prabhupada explains that this Narmada is in the spiritual, in the heavenly planets, not in the earthly planet. Okay, please read.
O
Okay,
king, when all
when all the Asuras came onto the battlefield, headed by Dhritarashtra, they saw King Indra carrying the thunderbolt and surrounded by the Rudras, Vasus, Adityas, Ashwini Kumaras, Pitas, Vahnis, Maruts, Rubus, Sadyas, and Vishwadevas. Surrounded by his company, Indra shone so brightly that his effulgence was intolerable to the demons.
Okay, next.
Jai Mataji.
many hundreds and thousands of demons, demi-demons, yakshas, rakshasas, men-eaters, and others, headed by Sumali and Mali, resisted the armies of King Indra, which even death personified cannot easily overcome. Among the demons were Namuchi, Shambara, Anarva, Dvimudha, Rishabha, Asura, Hayagriva, Shankushira, Viprachiti, Ayumukha, Poloma, Vrishaparva, Praheti, Heti, and Utkala, roaring tumultuously and fearlessly like lions. These invincible demons, all dressed in golden ornaments, gave pain to the demigods with weapons like club, bludgeons, arrows, barbed, darts, mallet,
And lances. Okay, next.
Armed with lances, tridents, axes, swords, and other weapons like Agnis and Bhushundis, the demons attacked from different directions and scattered all the chiefs of the demigods' armies.
Okay.
As the stars in the sky cannot be seen when covered by dense clouds, the demigods being completely covered by networks of arrows falling upon them one after another could not be seen.
Okay, next.
The showers of various weapons and arrows released to kill the soldiers of the demigods did not reach them because the demigods, acting quickly, cut the weapons into thousands of pieces in the sky.
Okay, next.
As their weapons and mantras decreased, the demons began showering mountain peaks, trees, and stones upon the demigod soldiers. But the demigods were so powerful and expert that they nullified all these weapons by breaking them to pieces in the sky as before.
Okay, next.
When the soldiers of the demons, commanded by Vritasura, saw that the soldiers of King Indra were quite well, having not been injured at all by their volleys of weapons, not even by the trees, stones, and mountain peaks, the demons were very much afraid.
Okay, next.
When insignificant persons use rough words to cast false, angry accusations against saintly persons, their fruitless words do not disturb the great personalities. Similarly, all the efforts of the demons against the demigods, who were favorably situated under the protection of Krishna, were futile.
Okay, next.
The Asuras, who are never devotees of Lord Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, lost their pride in fighting when they found all their endeavors futile. Leaving aside their leader, even in the very beginning of the fight, they decided to flee because all their prowess had been taken away by the enemy.
Okay, next.
Seeing his army broken and all the asuras, even those known as great heroes, fleeing the battlefield out of intense fear, Vritasura, who was truly a great minded hero, smiled and spoke the following words.
Okay, next.
According to his position and the time and circumstances, Vritasura, the hero among heroes, spoke words that were much to be appreciated by thoughtful men. He called to the heroes of the demons, O Viprachiti, O Namuji, O Puloma, O Maya, Anarva, and Shambara, please hear me and do not flee.
Okay, next.
Vritasur said, all living entities who have taken birth in this material world must die. Surely, no one in this world has found any means to be saved from death. Even Providence has not provided a means to escape it. Under the circumstances, death being inevitable, if one can gain promotion to the higher planetary systems and be always celebrated here by dying a suitable death, what man will not accept such a glorious death?
There are two ways to meet glorious death, and both are very rare. One is to die after performing mystic yoga, especially Bhakti yoga, by which one can control the mind and living force and die absorbed in the thought of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The second is to die on the battlefield, leading the army and never showing one's death. These two kinds of death are recommended in the Shastra as glorious.
So now Vritrasura is hinting that he is going to face both this kind of death. He is going to gloriously depart. He is going to face both this kind of death. Okay, some very few purports are there. We'll read those purports and then try to move from this chapter. Okay, please read.
Like the Ganges River, the Narmada River also flows in the higher planetary systems. The battle between the demigods and the demons took place in the higher planets. One can historically calculate how long ago the battle took place, since each millennium consists of 430,000 years, and we are now in the 28th millennium. Some 120400000 years have passed since the battle took place on the bank of the river Narmada.
Okay, so we have some calculation also. When did the battle take place? It's a fantastic number. 120,400,000 years before this battle took place on the bank of river Narmada. Okay, please read.
There is a Bengali saying that if a vulture curses a cow to die, the curse will not be effective. Similarly, accusations made by demonic persons against devotees of Krishna cannot have any effect.
Yeah, so because the vultures like dead body and cow is a big animal, and then if cow dies, then many vultures can feast on the dead body. So therefore, whenever vultures see a cow, they're always cursing the cow. Oh cow, let you die quickly. Oh cow, let you die quickly. Like this, they're always cursing the cow. But the curse of the vultures is not going to affect the cow. Is not going to die quickly because the vultures wanted to die quickly. So same way, the demoniac people, they say so many things to devotees, and those things will not take any effect because this is like vultures cursing the cow to die. So nothing will happen to the devotees because the devotees are always protected by the Lord. Okay. Please read.
Everyone should be ready to die while performing glorious deeds. A glorious person is not meant to meet death like cats and dogs.
Yeah, so if we see the great stalwart leaders in our movement and how they are leaving their body, we can actually see that these people have taken this instruction from Prabhupada to the heart that a great person is not supposed to die like cats and dogs. I remember that when Bhakti Maharaj, when during the COVID time, he was taking so much care in Ujjain that devotees should be protected, everybody should be nicely barricaded, and all those things. So because at that time some meeting took place, so he was very concerned about Mayapur also. He was asking about Mayapur, how we are doing things, what we are doing things, etc. And he was explaining how he has set up such wonderful system in Ujjain, where devotees can be nicely protected. But the same person, he went to America during the peak of COVID, knowing fully well that if he goes there, there's a chance that he will die. But he went there because he had disciples in America, and he had given them some task. And he said, how can I leave them alone? I have to go and be with them. So he went. And of course, we all know that he left his body. And same way we see that His Holiness Gopal Krishna Goswami Maharaj, he expressed his desire that he wanted to leave his Prabhupada actually left his body as while he was chairman of Bureau, and still he was serving. So His Holiness Gopal Krishna Goswami Maharaj also expressed his desire that, oh, I want to leave my body while I'm still serving. So there was a lot of discussion because of his health that whether he should give up his position as chairman. And he even proposed that he would like to resign. But then all devotees discussed, and then they came to conclusion that he should not resign, that he should be the chairman. And finally, he even going to Dehradun, like his secretaries are explaining that Maharaj was thinking so much that whether he should go or not. But then finally he decided to go on one consideration. What is that consideration? The consideration is, I am the host. How can I not go? I have to go. Because I am the host. I called everybody to Dehradun. I called all of them, all the leaders to come and meet in Dehradun. So therefore I should go. So his consideration was that, oh, I am the host. I should go and serve all of them. They have come because I have called them. So this way, he gloriously left his body in the battlefield. And same way, Bhakti Tirtha Maharaj. And then we see that great Prabhupada disciples, they all leave their body in a very, very glorious way. So this should be some inspiration for us. Of course, we cannot match their devotion, we cannot match their dedication, but we should take some inspiration from them, that cats are dying, dogs are dying, but we should do something to Prabhupada's movement before the time comes for us to leave the body. It may be small, it may be big, it doesn't matter. But we should definitely try to contribute according to our own situation. We should not simply try to die like cats and dogs. What we do, it doesn't matter. but it matters that we do something according to our own position, according to our own capacity. It does matter that we do something. So with this, we can stop. This brings us to the end of this chapter. Thus ends the Bhakti and the purport of 6th canto, 10th chapter of Srimad Bhagavatam, entitled Battle Between the Demigods and Vritrasura. So from the next chapter onwards, we actually see the blossoming character of Vritrasura. It very beautifully blossoms like the lotus which blossoms early in the morning. And then we can have the great glimpse of his character, his mood, his devotion, his dedication, his attachment to his Lord, everything. So we will continue next week. Okay, any questions or comments or discussions on the last chapter which we had? We have 1 or 2 minutes left. If there's nothing, then we'll close the class. If there's something, this is your opportunity to raise it. Okay, so one point I wanted to tell to Rukmini Harisevani, you are the coordinator. I see that the attendance to the class is like very random. Like, this class looks like Ayaram, Gayaram class. Like people are coming according to their convenience and then going out according to their convenience. I don't know how many are students, how many are listeners. I hope you are maintaining some sort of attendance. If not, please do maintain some sort of attendance, because I am not maintaining any attendance here. So I also don't know the nature of students, that who is writing exam, who is just coming to listen to all these things. I also don't know. But I do see that the number fluctuates throughout the class. Like, somebody is there, somebody is not there. I hope that they have a system of taking some permission for leaving early or coming late or not being there to the class. So these things should be there. And also people should come on time. If need be, we can start at a little late. We can start at 10:15. And generally they should try to stay throughout the entire class unless they have taken permission to leave early. Or if there is, if they're going to be not to be in the class, then they should inform us. I don't know whether you or there is some other coordinator whom they should inform, Rasal Prabhu, whoever it is. Not necessarily me. I don't, because I don't deal with their attendance. I don't deal with the administrative part. But there should be some discipline in coming to the class and going out of the class. So you please ensure that these things are happening, and it's just not like a free for all kind of thing, that if you want to come, if you want to go. We don't read Bhagavatam like this. It's not the way to read Bhagavatam. Okay?
Yes.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Granth Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Gaur Premanande ki Hari Bol.
Thank you so much.